Okay, welcome everybody. and Thank you for joining us for another one of our monthly sessions. It's always so good to see everyone and be in community with everyone once again. It is a very cold and wet day here on the mountains, so we are gathered up snug and warm with our scarves and our jerseys, and we hope you are warm and cozy and comfortable wherever you are. And Yeah, we're so fortunate to have Maya, one of my favorite teachers, giving us a talk today. And she'll be talking about just letting go, which is the ultimate goal, I suppose. Surrender, letting go. Um, and Maya is an incredible healer. She's initiated healer. She's a poet. She's a writer. She's a storyteller. She is a web weaver, always bringing people together, creating communities. So we are very grateful to have her here on the mountain with us and to have her teaching today. So over to you, Maya.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah, good to be with you. And just while we're letting a few more people arrive in the space, just love to take a moment to just land together. And so, just however you're seated or lying down, just becoming aware of the body, closing your eyes if you'd like, or lowering your gaze and just keeping your gaze a few feet ahead of you. And just feeling the body, feeling how it is right now. Maybe you've forgotten you had a body through the day. Making any movements that you'd like to. Becoming aware of wherever your body meets the ground, through a seat, through a cushion, through your feet. And connecting with that sense of holding that the ground offers. And I'd like to invite you into the energetic space of Mvuleni Mountain. I know some of you have been here before. Maybe you've just seen a photo of it. Whether you've been here or not, this energetic space, energetic portal is available for you. This ancient mountain that hovers behind us. The rocks that have been worn by water and wind, that carry many stories, that carry all our human stories. The rocks that endure, and all the wild ones, the plants and trees and animals. As we connect in this virtual space together, the holding of this mountain is also available to you. And also inviting you to bring into your heart any energies or beings that feel close to you right now. They could be ancestors, maybe a river or ocean where you are, or one that you have a relationship with, mountains, trees, animals, teachers, poets. Whoever, whatever emerges in your heart right now, invite them into the space with us. Allowing this to be a gathering of not just the human bodies, but all the energies that we feel in connection with. So thank you, everyone. So this evening, I'd like to speak a bit about letting go, as Pumla said. And so I'll speak a bit and then we'll do a guided practice and then we'll open the space for sharing or questions. And yeah, I mean, letting go came to me as something to talk about because it's been something that I've been exploring or grappling with. And it's a lifelong journey, exploring or grappling with letting go, as I'm sure it is for many of us. But recently it's kind of felt closer to me in my practice and how I've been relating to myself and the world. And it is very difficult. I think everyone I know struggles with letting go. And when I talk about it, I'm thinking of it as a kind of embodied physical experience. So that ability to feel release and that openness and expansiveness in our body. The opposite of which I'm thinking of as contraction or closing, clinging. But it also shows up in my relationships with my work, with people, in arguments. And of course, they're connected. So it's this thing that's very difficult, but it's also kind of an organizing principle of spiritual practice. You know, it's as Pumla said something, it's like the big goal, you know, this thing we kind of want to head towards, you know, nirvana as the ultimate letting go of self, of karma, of ideas, you know, to enter into that sky-like expansiveness. There's something about that for me is also like this glimmer, this kind of longed for place, you know? And just feeling into how there's this thing of it being this longed for place that I want so much, and at the same time, my experience, my bodily experience, so often being one of contraction and not being able to let go. So there's this dynamic for me. And Ajahn Chah, the Thai Buddhist teacher who's on our shrine over here, he said something like, if you let go a little, you get a little bit of peace. If you let go a lot, you get a lot of peace. So there is this sense of letting go being something to practice, something to cultivate. But it's also, I find the mechanics of it, the practicalities of letting go is something like a mystery. Because it's not something that you can easily do. It's almost like something that has to happen, you know, like trying to let go. You know, as soon as we're trying to let go, there's this action involved, which feels quite different from the letting go, you know, which is almost like a kind of grace. And Pema Chodron talks about this in a teaching that I really love. She talks about how there are three aspects to meditation or daily life, which is precision, gentleness, and letting go. And precision being kind of like a focus, you know, it's like we take a posture, we practice a technique. There's a kind of a precision, a honing in, a clarity, a form. And gentleness being kindness, softness. And she talks about how these are two things that we can cultivate, you know, two aspects of meditation or life that we can cultivate. You know, we can be aware of the posture we take, we can make it more precise, straighten our back, we can bring our awareness to the breath, we can focus, we can cultivate that. We can cultivate gentleness in terms of being aware of how we speak to ourselves, be aware of relaxing our shoulders. But letting go is a bit trickier. It's a bit like harder to cultivate that, to practice that. It's almost like we have to create the conditions, and then the letting go happens. You know, like the fragrance of the flower. It's like the fragrance of our practice. So I've been grappling with it, I mean, recently, in the sense of just noticing how tightly wound I am, and how in moments of stillness, like this past weekend where, you know, I wasn't feeling so great, but I wasn't totally sick, so I was taking time to just rest, and feeling in those moments of stillness just how deep there's like this deep tightening in my core that's kind of very subtle, and just noticing how challenging it was to rest. I was chatting to a friend a few weekends ago, and she said to me, it was a Sunday, and she said, I'm exploring rest today. And I really liked that because I resonate with that, you know. It's like, I don't know if I quite rest. It's like, I'm exploring it. It's a really helpful kind of way of framing it for me. And noticing how, because so in that space of like, okay, wanting to rest and then feeling into this kind of pulsing, tightening in me, how it like urges me, you know, it feels like an urging. And it's like there's this sense, okay, I need to do something. So now it's like, okay, my mind goes into, okay, how can I rest? You know, now it becomes a project. And the sense of wanting my rest to be productive, you know, so if I'm reading like a bad novel, it's like, oh my God, that's not like good rest. I should be doing yoga, you know. But also this urging, you know, there's one of my responses to that energy is wanting to move away from it, you know, so to move into things that help me escape, that take me out of this kind of pulsing energy. You know, books, movies, people. Yeah, so just kind of feeling into that and acknowledging for myself how difficult rest is, and how, in a sense, my body struggles to fully let go. And so also, what I'd also like to share is just a few things as I've been reflecting on this that I found helpful. And the first thing that I found helpful is just acknowledging that it is difficult to let go in an embodied way. And there are many reasons for why my body is so contracted. And it's not surprising. So we live in a world that inspires contraction. And I think that's really important to acknowledge. That all of us, no matter where we are, live in cultures and societies that are deeply broken, that are gripped and have been marked by violence, systems of oppression, colonialism, patriarchy. And these big systems are not just systems, they're present in our relations, in our everyday relations, in our families. We live in a culture that's has an energy that's unrelenting. That urging that I felt within me, it feels close to the word urgency for me. I like that I don't know the etymology, but it feels like a relationship, urge and urgency, because it's like everything feels urgent. And on the one hand, I think that's something about our economy and our work culture, which has this urgency interwoven to it. Everything needs to have happened yesterday. But we're also sitting amidst situations that feel so urgent, the levels of inequality around us, the violence, you know, locally, nationally, globally. There's so much that's urgent. And on the one hand, resting can feel indulgent in that situation. So there can be that story for myself that, my God, there's so much to do. I have an organization to run and this to fix, and people are going through that, and shouldn't I respond to this? So there's a lot that's pulling on the one hand. But also the reality of the world we live in, the reality of whatever we grew up within, however those systems have impacted us in a personal way, in our families, have meant from a young age that a kind of a very natural response is to contract, is to close in for safety. Because, and I feel that very much in my own life, that from a young age, the world did not feel like a safe place for me. And so my response was to close in. And that's helpful for me to acknowledge, because then my ability to not let go is not something that I'm not achieving in my spiritual practice, but it actually is completely understandable and actually comes from a response that was there to protect me. You know, when I contracted from a young age, it was to look after myself, to kind of try and create safety in a very unsafe world. Yeah, and I feel that's really important to acknowledge as we come into this practice of cultivating letting go, is to really appreciate why it's difficult. And in that, I can also feel a sense of honoring for myself, you know, and honoring for the ways in which I try to create safety for myself. It's kind of meeting what is, which is always the first step, you know, it's the first noble truth, just acknowledging what the suffering is, acknowledging the causes and conditions. So if we acknowledge that, though, how do we help ourselves to let go? If we acknowledge the contraction. And the first thought I had about that is that it's easier for me to let go when I do feel safe. So safety, in my own experience, is almost a prerequisite for this embodied experience of loosening, of releasing, of letting go. And what we can do is cultivate those conditions of safety. You know, so even as we take a posture to meditate, it's just being aware, how can I help my body to feel safer in this posture, to feel more comfortable? Because, you know, life is a battle enough. You know, when we come into this practice, it doesn't have to be a battle, or we can find ways to make it less of a battle, so we can meet those parts of ourselves that feel that they are in a battle. And it's also about the environment we're in. I think something that I find very powerful is living here at Dharmagiri, experiencing how people are able to release and soften in nature. Because nature offers this kind of holding and safety implicitly that our bodies respond to. And even in my meditation practice, something I've been exploring is, you know, I used to very often feel like, okay, I'm meditating, I'm going to go to those parts of myself that feel most tight or most wounded and sit with them and look at them. And I've started to work more with feeling into areas of my body that already feel safe, that already feel at rest, and noticing how staying with those sensations, the pleasant sensations, actually increases my capacity to feel safe, which then supports my body to release in areas where it's more contracted. So it's kind of like we don't have to be, or maybe it's changing what it looks like to be a warrior for myself, you know. And another thing that I found helpful is considering how letting go is not something we have to do by ourselves. And in a sense, it's not something we can do by ourselves. Because if we think of letting go as moving out of the small self and moving into a more expansive way of being in the world, it's kind of moving out of that, it's all on me, I have to do it by myself, me against the world, I'm climbing up this mountain. So handing it over, whatever that looks like, is a way to cultivate letting go. And that shows up for me in my work, you know, when I ask for help or, you know, tell Neil or Pumla, hey, listen, I really can't, I don't want to do this right now. Can you please? There's like a handing over. And I'm teaching myself how to release in that, how to come into relationship, how to come into community and allow myself to be held by community. And it's also there for me in an energetic and spiritual sense. For me, it's been really transformative to practice with nature and with my ancestors, to make offerings to my ancestors, to make offerings to the mountain and the waters, and ask them to help me, hand over whatever it is I'm carrying. And each time I practice that, each time I offer, each time I ask, it loosens something within me. A practice we regularly do here is a bowing practice, and Kuan Yin is behind me, behind the Buddha, and she's the one who listens to the sounds of the world at ease. And in the bowing practice, you bow down to her and you chant, and the chant, one of the ways of understanding the chant is, I return to the one who listens to the sounds of the world at ease. And just that action of bowing and offering my body is kind of teaching me to hand over, to release. And another thing I find helpful is remembering that and trusting that I actually already know that expansive state. You know, it's something that I'm going to paraphrase Khalil Gibran, who said something like, if the Milky Way wasn't in me, how would I see it and know it? You know, it's that kind of thing. The thing that we long for, in some way we already know it, otherwise we wouldn't long for it. In the longing is a kind of knowing, in the longing is a kind of remembering. It's wanting to experience it again. You know, the longing is a kind of bridge. So I read somewhere that when babies are born, they have this full body breath. They're able to breathe with their entire bodies. And as we move through life, as we constrict in various ways, we lose that capacity. But we knew that capacity at some point. Our bodies remember what it's like to be truly open. And so remembering that for myself, that, oh, this is something I already know, I find kind of heartening and encouraging. That it's not this impossibility. And it helps me kind of get out of that small self who feels like this is all I am, this constriction, this closing, this not being able to let go. There's an invitation there for me. And the last thing that I wanted to share, which I find helpful as a reflection for myself, is that it doesn't have to happen all at once. And I think I've tended to see it as like, okay, I'm either stuck or I'm like completely open, you know? But we're also a process. And I like the word loosening in that way, you know? It's like, oh, I'm loosening, you know? And you can actually, like, you know, if you just close your fist, and you can do that right now, and just feel that contraction. And as you loosen one finger, you can feel the difference it makes. And yes, you can feel the traction, but you can also feel that process of loosening. You can loosen another finger. So it's this process, it's this unfolding and this unraveling. And when we're aware of that, we can pay attention to the loosening. We can appreciate the loosening. Something that our teacher Kitisaro said years ago, which stayed with me, was that as soon as you see it, as soon as you're aware of it, it's changing. And I also find that very encouraging. And I've also been practicing with, you know, where do I place my awareness? Is it like, okay, I'm noticing the contraction, but am I also noticing the loosening, the areas at the edges, you know, where there's some softening happening? I'd like to share a poem that I wrote, which kind of speaks to all of this. Softness. I look for you always. Long ago I tightened, a bud against the cold, and have spent years peeling open. The cold this morning woke me up, and the ground lay, allowing frost, then sun. I long for you to make me yielding, a leaf to the wind, to rest my veins upon the stream and be carried. It feels as though you hide, but it's me hiding in this dance of opening and closing. You are always there. In the loneliest corners of my heart, you are there. So I'd like to invite you now into a short practice and taking a posture that feels easeful and comfortable to you right now. And just taking extra time to notice the body and checking in, asking your feet and legs, your arms and torso and head, do you feel comfortable? What can I do to help you feel more comfortable? Supporting your body to come into an experience of safety in this moment. And noticing areas in your body that feel contracted, disturbed, uncomfortable. Kind of like an audit, just seeing what is there. Noticing also places in your body that feel at ease, safe, comfortable. Or even just neutral, if that's what's accessible for you right now. And for me, it's often in my hands and legs and feet. Kind of grounded, earth-oriented parts of my body. Finding for yourself those places of ease and comfort. Letting your awareness rest here. If it feels comfortable and easeful, feeling your breath as well. But if you're feeling any tightening in the breath, it's okay. Just keep your awareness at those places that feel most at ease. And as your awareness rests here, is it possible to feel the sense of safety in your body increasing? Is it possible to rest in a sense of pleasantness? If you're feeling grounded in this sense of safety and ease, can you invite in other sensations in the body? Noticing how other parts of your body are feeling. and modulating for yourself if that feels disturbing. Coming back to the areas that feel grounded and easeful. And perhaps you'd like to allow your awareness to touch into a part of your body that feels constricted. Seeing for yourself, does it feel okay to stay with the sensations? Is it possible to soften around those constrictions? To be aware of the sense of ease and the constriction at the same time. And always returning to feeling into our easeful, grounded parts of our body for extra support. always remembering that there are places within us where we can rest, that there are parts of us that already feel grounded and safe, even if it's just our pinky. Allowing ourselves to come back to explore those places of ease and rest. So inviting you back into the space together. If your eyes are still closed, you can blink them open. Just take a moment to look around the room that you're in. And coming back to the screen. Thank you. Over to Pumla.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Maya. That was such a wise and compassionate way of exploring, exploring, letting go, and just remind of these causes and conditions that we live in and how we are a result of that. And only awareness and compassion can help us to just soften into that space of great expansiveness that is already within us. That was just lovely. Thank you so much. Yeah, not to forget to mention to everyone that these teachings are offered freely, of course. And Neil is just going to quickly put in the chat if you would like to make a donation to help us keep sustaining spaces like this, physical spaces, and thankfully online spaces like this where we can get together. You're welcome to make a donation via the banking details or the credit card PayPal details. And we do appreciate all the support that we've been getting to keep these circles and these monthly spaces going. No amount is too small or too big. We really appreciate it. And we're gonna have space and time now for some open sharing. Anything that is on your mind, in your heart, in space, in the field about these beautiful jewels of medicine Maya has shared with us, or your experience with letting go and on this journey, on this path. And I'll hand it back over to Maya.
Yeah, Nokwanda. Hello. Lovely to see you.
Thank you. Actually needed this. Well, somehow
Oh, we
every.
can't hear you.
Okay, let me see.
There we go. Okay.
Our speaker was off.
Sorry.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay. I was just saying, it's amazing how each monthly conversation is just what I need to. I need. I needed this reminder today because I'm clinging so heavily to something that actually literally have to let go, let it go, give it to the universe to sort it out for me. And I didn't even realize how tightly I was clutching onto it. And just thank you for the gift of softening that I received. And just a reminder that I don't have to hang on so tightly to some of these things. Sometimes just allow. Yeah, I needed. Yeah, we're like clutching to it for dear life. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for joining us. So we're in it together. The silence is also sweet.
Thank you, Maia.
Hi, Sven.
Hi. I've been
This is
lying
your
here.
baby.
Yes.
Sven's got a brand new baby, everyone.
Brand new, as in a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, 3 weeks.
Yes.
Our
Yeah,
youngest
and
son.
exactly. Yeah, she fell asleep and we all sort of drifted off, let go during the meditation. Yeah, thank you for the lesson. It's funny since she came, I was saying the other day, like, well, now I've got a whole nother person's worries to carry around with myself. You know, and I think it's definitely been a realization in the last weeks. Like, it's just another way of practicing. Whenever I'm tempted to think, oh, that thing that or the breastfeeding's not going well, or she's not something's not going well, I also have to, obviously have to take care of it and try to deal with it. But the worry about it and the overthinking about it, there's always that opportunity to let that go. So
Oh, thank you so much.
thank you.
So beautiful to see you both.
Oh.
Something about a baby that does something to one's serotonin levels. Just seeing a baby.
Oh my gosh, that little hand. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I just have a comment, just like a random comment about that comes to my mind about letting go is that how many levels there are. Like, I mean, it's quite profound actually because there's so many levels, and it's also the ultimate level is also letting go. And I feel like it's a profound summary of the Buddha's path actually is letting go. So it's like letting go. A lot of this, what we're talking about, is letting go where things get stuck in the body, whether it was passed to you through your experience in your life or maybe earlier or whatever it is. Things that get stuck in your body, things that get stuck in your mind, things that get stuck in your heart. And then there's also letting go of the idea of self, the idea of self, conceit of self, right? Profound letting go. And letting go of whatever's left, right? It's like finding the little bits that is hanging on.
Yeah.
I feel it can take you all the way. How to do it is just some thoughts.
Yeah. And we can only ever be at the point we're at, you know, with the thing that we are grasping onto now. That's where our, you know,
Right.
and to be with that loosening, whatever it is for us in this moment. That's, yeah. We don't have to worry about the whole path. It'll unfold for
Yes,
itself.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, you can't skip ahead.
No.
That's the clinging to the results, rather than, as you beautifully put it, appreciating the fragrance of the practice, the joy of watching each knot untangle, each little bit looser. Yeah.
Yeah. We have a couple more minutes if anyone else would like to share anything in this place.
I think otherwise we'll go to Neil for a beautiful sharing of blessings, and then we'll close our session for this month.
Thanks, everyone. It's so lovely to see you all. Thank you for being with us in our shrine room on our mountain.
Yeah, and just as a way to close our practice together, I would like to invite you to close your eyes if it's comfortable for you, and then just tune into the goodness of this practice, the goodness of, this time we spent together, the beautiful intentions that we're here to work on our hearts, on our minds, and to loosen and to lessen our suffering. Just tuning into how beautiful that is. And then we dedicating the goodness of that practice. We wishing that it will transform our lives and that it will transform the lives of our closest ones, our dear ones, our loved ones that we live with, that we interact with, that we come across, and that it will circle out through the entire world in whatever small way it might be, small or big. So may the goodness of our practice be shared amongst all beings without exception. May all beings be free from pain and suffering. May all beings feel safe and at ease. May all beings be well.
We'll say that maybe Om Mani Padme.
Okay, right on.
Yes.
Yeah. You're welcome to join us silently, well, in your space. We'll just close with 3 rounds of Om Mani Padme Om, sharing these beautiful blessings of all beings. Thank you so much, Nina. Thank you, everyone, and have a beautiful evening.
Bye. If you'd like to unmute to say goodbye, that's also nice.
Thank you. Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Everybody, bye-bye.
Goodbye,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Bye-bye, little baby.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi.